Wow, Star Wars Jedi Survivor just got the final gameplay trailer released online, and today I thought we should dive in depth into the incredible gameplay that we've just seen. But before we do that, make sure you like the video if you want to see more just like this from me covering Jedi Survivor extensively up until and past its release. Now with that out of the way, let's dive straight into this trailer. So basically we're just going to scrub through this frame by frame, listen to what they're saying, and see what we can pick out. So let's start at the very beginning here. Cal looks like he's on either Jedha or Geonosis, with Seer saying that he was sent off to war as a very young Jedi, kind of showing those deeper, more corrupt levels of the Jedi Order. He looks like he fell, and he looks like he's hurt right there. He's looking around very confused with BD on his back, very close to his back. So maybe the wind is that strong where he could fly off if he's not careful. So it looks like they're just trying to figure out where they are right there. The orange sandstorm makes me think it could be either Geonosis or Jedha. We'll see later in the trailer something that really looks like Jedha to me. But in that one shot, it could be Geonosis because that is really the only that orange planet that we've seen in Star Wars before. At least that's a desert planet that I can think of. Obviously there are other desert planets, but not many of them are that saturated in color, which makes me think it is Geonosis. And the rockwork behind it also is somewhat similar to what you'd see on Geonosis. I'm thinking of the episode Landing on Point Rain from the Clone Wars. There's a lot of the catacombs and caves that look very similar to the rocks that are behind him, and obviously you can't really see them very well, so it really could be either planet, Jedha or Geonosis, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's either. So then in the next shot we see some stormtroopers shooting down at Cal. We see one of them have the heavy gun from the last game that's coming back. It doesn't look like he's popped the bubble shield yet, but he does have the same gun, and behind them there's a bunch of rocky structures, but you can see a actual statue in the right corner, and this again makes me think that this is Jedha, because Jedha had a lot of these Jedi statues that look very similar to this. There's something that they're holding in their hands that looks like a lightsaber hilt. It could be some pottery or something, but I don't know if that really makes any sense. Jedha is known for Jedi statues, and this looks like Jedi robes, so I'm pretty sure that they're still on Jedha in this shot. The stormtroopers are following Cal, and later in the trailer we'll see that they're fighting on Jedha. So I'm pretty sure that this statue is maybe some Jedha temple that Cal has to go to. Cal is deflecting all of their blaster bolts, and you can see outside that that looks like the stone wall to the Jedha city behind it, if you ask me, with the same sort of saturated floor. You'll see in the background there that there's some text behind Cal, and I went to translate this, but this actually is not Arabic. This might be some ancient Jedha text or some ancient Jedha language, but this is not Arabic, so I can't really translate this. I don't know what this says, but that might be something that's important. If anyone knows what that is, comment down below and I'll pin it. I just don't know what that says. I can't figure it out. So in this shot, we actually do see Cal walking towards some sort of Jedi structure, it looks like, because if you zoom in, it looks kind of like the Jedi logo or some sort of grand building. And this really looks like Jedha, man. I mean, this is probably not Tatooine. I definitely don't think this is Geonosis, because Geonosis is not this bright. This has to be Jedha to me. Unless this is a new planet, of course. But it looks like Cal is heading towards a new structure. There's a TIE fighter flying towards it, showing that Cal is in danger, but I'm pretty sure that this is Jedha, and he's walking towards this temple right there. There's Seer. Again, we've seen a couple shots of this campfire sequence. It looks like Marin is also here, just not shown in the same shot as Seer at the same time. So, I mean, I guess those could be two different things, but it looks like they're in the same shot. And it really seems like Seer went to Jedha to rekindle her connection with the Force and create a Jedi library, as we've seen in the other trailers. And it looks like she's giving him some motivation here. And again, the background, it looks really rocky. It's not super bright or super colorful like Geonosis. So I really just think this is all taking place on Jedha so far. This next shot is actually on Coruscant. Coruscant is here. So this looks like a little alleyway in the under levels. Cal is doing a wombo combo on all of these stormtroopers right here. But in the background, we got a couple of Arabic texts. And this, I'm pretty sure I can translate. The top text here that you see on the right vaguely translates to A-C-H-O-D in Arabic. Obviously, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I could be wrong because it is a little covered up there and it's at a really, really strong angle. So I could be wrong, but I'm 90% sure that that's what that says. And the one on the left says E-O-D-A. Yoda. I don't know if that's an actual thing. Maybe it's saying Yoda, but Y in Arabic does not really look like that first letter. However, again, the first letter here is actually kind of blocked, so it's kind of hard for me to actually see what that is. I'm pretty sure it just says E-O-D-A. Again, could be wrong, but that's what I've figured out from the Arabic translator that I used. This next shot has a giant creature looking down at Cal and BD, and I think that we've actually seen this creature in a couple gameplay segments before. It's absolutely huge, but I have no idea what it's called. In this next shot here, we can see BD is scanning it, and he gets on top of the creature and falls, and we actually have a brand new mechanic confirmed for the game right here. BD1 can apparently hover or fly or something like that, which is a really, really cool mechanic and actually makes a lot of sense, especially if you think about R2 units, how they can fly. BD1 makes a lot of sense to be able to fly. So I think that's a really, really cool feature from Respawn that they added right there. In the next shot here, Cal is running towards some stormtroopers. One of them has the heavy gun with the pop shield on it, and it looks like the Mantis is crashed behind it or something along those lines. It looks like there's a crashed ship, and there's a light off to the left. So maybe the Empire found the crashed Mantis or something like that. It's really hard to make out what this is because it's so foggy, but this could be a crashed Imperial ship, as why there's Imperials there, but it also really looks like the Mantis if you think of the shape right there. If you see when Cal hits the stormtrooper after he jumps off the wall, the leg just goes flying. So it's really, really cool to see that there's some dismemberment coming back into this game. And the flames, I also just want to say, this game just visually looks so good. The flames just look amazing. Cal in this shot has a hologram, but before he activates the hologram, you can see this rock with a bunch of just purple stuff in it. This could be like some force thing that he needs to go over and sense. But also, I'm not really sure if they would put that in a cutscene because this looks like a cutscene. So I really don't know what that is. This looks like it's in either the caves of Geonosis or Jedha because we keep going back and forth on what planet he's on in this breakdown. But that really just is boggling my mind. I have no idea what that is. I think we're going to have to wait until the game comes out to figure out what that purple stuff is. If it's not like a force sense thing that you have to walk up and do that he did in the first game. Now he activates his hologram and you can see, I'm pretty sure this is a male figure. Maybe this is Marin, but they don't really give anything away on who this could be. There's no audio with this person talking, so maybe they're looking for someone. This could be a younger Saw Gerrera maybe, but that doesn't make a lot of sense because he's older by this time, so why would he be on Jedha? That doesn't really make any sense to me. This could be Bode. Bode is a very likely option, I feel like. And of course, this could just be some random character that we don't know about yet, so obviously, that's the thing that's hard about breakdowns like this is we got to pick stuff apart that we don't know anything about. So this really could be Bode. I don't think this is Saw Gerrera. It could be some random character that we haven't come up with yet or some random hologram that he just finds on the ground. It's obviously really hard to tell right here. In this next shot, it's super cool. You can see Bode on the left on also a speeder bike, and you can see Cal fighting a stormtrooper on a speeder bike while they're moving. That is so cool. If you look at the top of the speeder bikes, it really looks like they're kind of locked together how they had it in Episode 6 during that Endor speeder bike chase, which is why they're so close together. But having speeder bike mechanics in this game is just so cool. And not even just a speeder bike mechanic, but what he does to that stormtrooper next is so cool. He pushes the stormtrooper up into the TIE fighter's cockpit. That is so cool. And it looks like this next shot, it reminds me a lot of that shot in Episode 3 where Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Mace Windu are heading to the Jedi hangar where they launch the ships in preparation to help Kashyyyk, and they're talking about the Chosen One prophecy. That's what this really reminds me of. It looks like that same sort of atmosphere. We're 90% sure that the next shot is telling us that Cal is in this Imperial gunship heading towards the now Imperial headquarters, which was the former Jedi Temple. Looks super cool and kind of menacing, but I kind of like the red that they added to it. That really adds something to the building there. In this next shot, we see some stormtroopers walking down the streets of Coruscant. There's not too much in that shot. Marin, and you can see Grease and Bode in the cockpit. I didn't actually realize that was Bode. You can see Bode, Grease, and Marin in the cockpit here. Kind of difficult to see where they are. And some of the other gameplay trailers, we've seen a really foggy planet with some trees in the background. That could be the planet that they're on. Obviously, this is the thing about breakdowns. It's hard to tell without actually knowing anything about the game. So I believe that this is the planet that's on, but I don't know what that planet is. So obviously, it's gonna be kind of hard to break that down. This next shot is on Koboh, and we see this droid. I have no idea who this is. We haven't seen this in any of the previous gameplay stuff that we've seen. Now, I want you to look at his hand on the right. Take a look at what he's holding. He's holding some shape. This is some crystal-shaped metal object. I have no idea what that is, but keep that in mind. That is going to be important for later in this breakdown. He's on Koboh. Bode is actually in Grease's cantina, and there's actually some more Arabish in the background, so I'm going to go ahead and break that down. On the left here, it looks like that says uphill. Don't know what that means. The last letter is a little slanted, so it's a little hard to make that one out, but it looks like the whole word on the top is uphill, and at the bottom I can make out J-C-I, and then the last letter at the side you can see is cut off by the bench right there, so I really can't translate that last word, and J-C-I, that's not going to translate to anything, I don't think. And this top one on this booth that's next to Cal's head, this one at the top just says N-N. The next line says E, and there's one more symbol at the side that I really can't make out. It doesn't match anything in Arabic, so I really don't know what that one says. And the bottom line says A-N-V. So I'm gathering that a lot of this Arabic in this trailer is just gibberish. Now we see the Rancor with a little reward, or maybe it's a meditation point or health something or other behind this Rancor that we saw in the trailer, or not trailer, but the gameplay demo that the content creators got to play. The Rancor boss looks really scary. So we can see in this shot, Marin, BD, and Grease walking out of the Mantis. And then this looks like the same area where Cal woke up in that first shot of this trailer. And there's an ATST fighting him now. So he gets on top of the ATST and rips the pilot out, which is really cool. And next up, we can see Marin and Cal fighting a K2 droid and what looks to be some camp on Jedha. If you look behind it, you can see banners on the ceiling. There's some crates next to the actual fight that they're having. There's some lights and some fires with a stair leading down into an area behind them. The structure next to them looks like it's some sort of important structure, so they're definitely somewhere. And again, this looks a lot like Jedha. They have a similar thing going on at Galaxy's Edge that takes direct inspiration from Jedha. I'm pretty sure Cal and Marin are on Jedha. They found Saw's base. That's what I'm guessing this is, unless they're in like the outskirts of the actual Jedha city. This really seems like it's either a Jedi temple or this is Saw Gerrera's camp. So I'm not sure which one this is, but that's what it looks like to me. In this next shot, we see again Cal and Marin in the same landscape, and it looks like they're using their Night Sister magic and the Force on this four-legged tentacle creature. What I first thought when I first saw this was that this was the droid that the Separatists use for underwater assaults, especially on the Battle of Kamino, where they would go underwater and then climb on top of Topoka City and then launch themselves into the actual building. But first of all, this droid or ship is the wrong color. Those ships were light brown, but doesn't mean it couldn't be repainted. However, in the middle, I don't really see any of the little spike things that poke into the Topoka City, and we don't really see any of the feet, so it's hard to match the feet as well. I mean, obviously we see a bunch of debris flying around Cal and Marin, so that's what it could be. Maybe they just cut it off and this is the end of a boss battle or something, and this is a Separatist ship, or this is something completely new. I have no idea, but that's what my best guess is that it's one of those Separatist ships. So we see Ravis, who is a Gendai, same species as Dirge in this next shot. Looks like this is a final battle between the two of them, if you ask me. They look like they're at some sort of space station. There's not too much to gather from this scene. In the background, you can kind of see some building stuff floating around. There's something purple back there, but it's really blurry, so it's really hard to make out. But this looks like it's on a moon. The moon area, you can see the curvature of it. It looks like it's kind of like a very barren area. There's some rocks floating around behind it. So it looks like they're on a moon right now at a moon base, and there's a planet off in the distance. No idea what that planet is, but Ravis is giving Cal a beatdown in these trailers. Cal is using the crossguard stance, which is the heavy stance, and he's really trying to take down Ravis here, but Ravis is not having it. With that mace, he's going crazy on Cal. In this next shot, we see two Droidekas pop their bubble shields with a really cool paint job. So these are the Bedlam Raiders Droidekas, but they're actually just in a Lucre Hulk. This is the exact same shot in episode 1 where the Droidekas pull up. So they pull up in a Lucre Hulk. You can make sure it's a Lucre Hulk by the shape of the door. That's the same door that Qui-Gon starts cutting through in episode 1 when the Droidekas show up. So they're definitely in a Lucre Hulk. Cal gives them a piece of his mind and actually destroys them with the crossguard stance. You can see here, a cool thing about the crossguard stance is that it can just break straight through his shield. I don't know if this Droideka's shield was low at this gameplay clip, but Cal just takes him out in 2 hits. The lightsaber just goes straight through the bubble shield, which is an interesting way of doing it. I would have thought that because the only way you can break through Droideka's shields is by slowly putting an object inside the shield, I would have thought that you'd have to use the Force on the bubble shield to deactivate it or something like that. But it looks like you can just cut through it with the lightsaber crossguard stance, which is interesting. And he just absolutely destroys both of them. Cal and Seer look like they're in her Jedi library right here. It's the same table from that other shot in the other gameplay trailer, so looks like that's the exact same location. You can also see a blue glow on both of them, so that's definitely where they are right now. Now, this is the shot I wanted you to remember earlier from the breakdown. You can see that the High Republic Jedi villain guy is using the dark side of the Force on the droid and on this metal crystal-shaped thing that we saw the droid holding on Koboh. And Cal is obviously trying to pull the metal thing towards him. Cal's got his lightsaber on, so perhaps they were just gonna fight, or they just got done fighting, or they were in the middle of a fight. I don't know. Cal's got his lightsaber on. The droid is getting Force destroyed, and so is that crystal if they're not careful, as we saw in The Last Jedi. That crystal there is in a really strong Force pull competition here between these two. And we get a good shot of this Jedi right here, and he's really struggling to pull it to himself, but you can hear the sound at the end of this section. I'll play it right now. It sounds like he successfully pulls it to him, if you ask me. That's what the Force pull sounds like. In this next shot, you can see that the Mantis is fully up and running again. Probably Grease or Bode, because we know both of them are on Koboh thanks to this trailer. And Cal is riding the Neko. In the back corner, you can probably see where the actual city area is. There's a building right there. So either this is some outpost or this is the actual city, and they're going towards the city. Now, it looks like they're in some sort of arena. And originally, I thought that this was the High Republic Jedi, but they have just different lightsabers, I'm pretty sure. Now, originally, when we saw all this gameplay, I thought that this was the High Republic Jedi, but they are wearing very different outfits. He obviously could have just had an armor change or whatever. We obviously don't know, but he has a double-bladed blue saber, and I'm pretty sure that the High Republic Jedi has a red or orange one. So I don't know who this is. Could it be the leader of the Bedlam Raiders? I don't know, because I thought Ravis was, but it'll be interesting to see who this is. This next shot, it looks like they're high above Koboh. We've seen where Cal is like grappling above in the skies of Koboh. I think that's where this is. Cal and Bode do a wombo combo on the Scout Trooper, and we cut to that boss battle between Ravis and Cal again on this moon, and Cal gives him a piece of his mind finally, and that is the end of the trailer. And it says April 8th, 2023. That is going to be an amazing date. We're going to be live streaming the entire game on this channel, so if you're interested, make sure you drop a like and subscribe. But there's a lot to this trailer, and this was a really fun breakdown. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you were able to dissect any of the Arabish that I was not able to, because there was a good bit of it that didn't make sense or that I couldn't translate. So let me know what you guys thought. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.